I'm sorry. All right. Take one.
Hey, welcome to this episode of Kitchen Konvos. Today we will be discussing kind of a heavy topic, but also an important topic. So we will be talking about being policed in America and colorism within the Black community.
So what would you guys do if you got stopped by a police officer?
Well, I don't have a car, so.
You know how to get pulled over.
Well,
Walking while black.
Walking by.
WWB.
based on my experience, I would just be respectful.
Yeah.
Answer just questions, ask for my license. Here you go, sir. Insurance. Here you go. What does that ask for? I don't know.
Seven words.
Whatever.
7 words.
If you have to talk to the cops, there's only 7 words you need to know. Yes, sir. No, sir. And thank you, sir.
Whatever they ask for, hand it to him. He asked me how my day going.
Yeah.
Boom, create a little conversation. He go back to the cop. He come back. All right, woo. This one got you a ticket for, what's my last ticket? Speed. Then boom. Then you go about my day. It's very respectful. My mom's in the car. Is that your mom, sir? Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, Miss Ring. Well, he didn't say Miss Ring.
You was speeding with your mom in the car.
Yeah. It was a 50 lane, but I was going 65.
That ain't bad.
15 over? 15 over.
But the crazy thing about it, she told me about it. Because he was undercut and she seen him and she told me to slow down. I'm like, I ain't worried about it.
Yeah.
And like 5 seconds
And now
later,
you got a paid ticket. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had to pay like about $45.
Oh, that ain't bad.
So whether you're with someone or you're by yourself, what do you do when the yes sir doesn't work? What do you do when the cop gets aggressive, starts to ask you things against your rights or your will,
Right.
and it starts to escalate?
I've definitely heard about that with black males in general. I've never heard a black female say that.
Right. I think for me, so my mantra in that typical scenario is kill them with kindness. But for your scenario, I don't know how you would react, right? Because if you're doing everything right, how would you know what to change? You know what I mean?
Right.
And all I can say is know your rights, really, right? Because if you don't know what's being violated, then you don't know if it's the cop's duty to ask you that or if they're stepping over a boundary of some sort. So I would say just keep being kind, but try to learn your rights and understand when you're being violated.
Right, because we know with past situations that our people have experienced with the cops, like, Sandra Bland, for instance, she was obeying.
She did everything right.
She knew her rights to the T.
Yeah, she got pulled over due to, I believe, she didn't have her turn signal on.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But she did follow the rules. She did everything the officer said, had her hands on the wheel and whatnot, but they still harassed her. But it's like, what do you do in that moment? Like, how can you defend yourself against the authority that's supposed to help defend you?
Right.
So it's just like a lose-lose situation, unfortunately, with us.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, again, she was taken to prison and lost her life there. They said she killed herself, but
we don't know that.
Allegedly.
All right, allegedly.
Yeah, they definitely not doing nothing to see if that's true.
But like when you have situations such as the Dante Wright, again obeying, but the cops still felt the need to shoot him because she felt threatened.
Right.
So it's like
they see us as a threat anyway.
Yeah.
They automatically come up to us and think we're gonna be aggressive with them.
Yeah. I think it's just the old storybook of just a preconceived notion about somebody, right? Because when you think about cops in society that I know, I feel like, I don't know this for a fact, but I feel like most cops are white. I mean, there are more white people in the world than anybody else, so I'm just making that assumption right now. And obviously, being of a certain racial background, we typically live amongst those who look like us in homogenous worlds, right? Obviously, there are communities that are diverse, but most cops are white, and I feel like most white people live amongst white people. So, especially if you come from a family that's historically been racist or just has never wanted to diversify being around other individuals, you have these preconceived notions about things you've heard or things you see on TV, and you're quick to think that that's the scenario, like that is who this person is. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So their only encounter with a black person might be on TV.
Okay, so let's go to the case of Ma'Khia Bryant. May she rest in peace. What do you do when you feel like it's like, why do you think the cops feel that they should shoot first instead of find another alternative method to stop the aggressor in the situation?
They know other ways, because like I've seen videos where there were people that were not of color,
right,
and they were literally trying to stab the police.
Yeah.
And they tased them, they tackled them, and cuffed them. It's like
giving the benefit of the doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's like, why don't you see someone that's actually threatening you as a threat?
Yeah.
Right.
As a problem, as opposed to this person who may not be a threat to you, but you deem them a threat.
Yes.
Yeah. Again, I think it's preconceived notions, right? The white person, they're going to give the benefit of the doubt because they're familiar with white people, right? The preconceived notion, or they may think that, I mean, obviously all white people aren't, I don't know how to use this word, but I don't want to say they're not all glamorous and they're all respectful. No one is. I mean, you'd be remiss to think that anybody is of any background, but there's so little action when it comes to these police officers dealing with black people that when they get put in these kind of situations, they don't know. They don't know what to expect because of those preconceived notions. This person might shoot me, like I said.
Yeah.
And that's what's going through their mind. They may not think that psychologically when they're dealing with somebody who looks like themselves. Because they're able to, okay, this person might not. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's the unknown. They're dealing with the unknown when they go into these spaces.
So wait, let me ask you guys this. If there was a black person that walked up to you with a gun, and then there was a white person that walked up to you with a gun,
right?
What would you do? Or what would you think?
Are these like police officers or
no, just regular people?
Oh.
And we have no other way to we don't have weapons to defend ourselves.
I mean, who do you think would kill you?
Both.
Exactly, because they both have a gun, right?
Yeah, it's equal playing field.
Yeah. Well,
but I'm also used to dealing with white and black people. You know.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's usually the case, is because we typically have to enter white spaces to do certain things, right? Like, you want to go to Chipotle, you're not going to the hood to get Chipotle, right? I mean,
and I think the hood got some good.
It got some good food. But how often do you see the white person come into our community to eat that food?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
We are always entering that space to do that thing, to do specific things. You don't get Chipotle on the west side of Chicago.
And I think it's kind of like, it is unfortunate that we have to not diminish ourselves, but conduct ourselves in different racial environments. Yeah. Like, we have to make sure we're probably more proper in the white environment, but when we're with our people, like, we can be gay.
Yeah, right. And the same for them. Well, no, not the same for them. Actually.
It is really
no, because like they're comfortable around their own people, but when most of them get around us, they become tense.
Right.
And it shouldn't be that way because all of us aren't a threat.
Right.
I don't think the first notion of seeing a black person should be a threat, and I think that stems obviously from racism and slavery
and television.
Yes, that too, because the news and media outlets only reports the bad things. Right. And it's like, yes, you might see one of our people robbing a store, but okay, a white person did that too, but y'all just decided not to put that on.
We're under a microscope because, and it's funny because, and that's the topic when it comes to black on black crime, right? We're under a microscope because it sells to the news. Mm-hmm. It sells to people in society. And what you don't realize is, again, we live amongst each other. So you're always gonna see you're gonna see more black on black crime than you will a black person per se killing a white person. Just like you will a white person killing a white person versus killing a black person. The stats are always gonna be higher amongst your own people because you live amongst your own people. It's just that our crap sells. Our faults sell to the news.
Why is it? Why do you think that?
Because it's no like hidden fact that we are the most hated race again.
Which makes no sense because they try to steal our culture all the time.
All the time.
Everything.
It's okay to be influenced and inspired.
Yeah.
I mean, we all need each other. But
Right.
again, I think, since the beginning of time, white men has always thought that black people, that we wanted to take. We never wanted to work for anything.
Yeah.
We wanted to just claim things that were ours or that we didn't deserve. But in all actuality, like, our people helped build this country.
Yeah.
Like, we've been working since the beginning of time.
And talk about taking things. I mean, this country was literally taken, and we were taken to build their country for them. And again, I love my white people, but these are stone cold facts.
Yeah.
You know, disclaimer. Look,
Right.
but
Yeah, I was about to say, I really feel like white people are scared of black people, because think about it, if we all came together,
yeah,
it's over with. Like, black people could accomplish so much,
Right.
but they low-key tear us apart because they put stuff in our head. Like, cops even plant like drugs in people's cars. Like, I've seen
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like they try to tear us apart and we let it happen.
They need us to be crabs in a bucket to further their agenda.
Exactly.
Because if we come together like the Jews did, we're stronger than ever. You know, we're strong. You know, the Jews they have so much togetherness and they own everything. Like,
And Arabs.
yeah,
I don't see no black people in a gas station.
but they need us to be crabs in a bucket to further their own agenda.
But going back to the police situation, again, using Ma'Khia Bryant as an example, why do you think that when the officer first got out of the car, his first instinct was to shoot this girl? Like,
Right.
I mean, as we can probably just draw to the conclusion, that these cops are trained to shoot to kill, like, not to injure. So, which should be changed. I feel like that no matter the aggressor or who's the victim, your goal shouldn't be to kill this person, like,
Right.
at all. So
Let's resolve this situation.
and I get it that, I'm not saying that, it's different when you're in the situation.
Yeah, you're scared.
Everyone's adrenaline is high. It literally happened in a matter of seconds.
And it's easy to say what you would do in that situation.
Right.
In that situation, but
Right. So I'm not blaming that specific cop for all of it. I do think everyone had a part,
yeah,
in the situation that happened. I don't, I just feel like she shouldn't be dead.
right.
But I do think that every person action, and no matter the situation, affects that one thing. So,
Right.
I mean, but with cops, I just feel like, it has to be something
Yeah.
that helps reconcile, this death between our people and them. So,
Right. And a further question, not for us necessarily, but for cops, is why is it that in these particular situations, why is it a no-brainer when it comes to killing a black person in a situation, and it's a critical situation that's pretty relaxed when it's a white person? Is that the way I want to say that? I want to phrase that. There's a lot of working with the person that's doing the threatening in a white space, and when it's a black person, it's shoot to kill immediately. It's
Right.
There's no thought behind it. It's quick. So that's my question.
That will never get answered.
No, it would never be an answer. But it seems like that seems to be what happens. I mean, even when you think back a couple of years ago, when that white boy shot up the black church, right, and he killed all those people in the church. I mean, they walked him out. Yeah, they took him to get something to eat on the way, to prison or whatever, and
they say that they just have a mental disorder,
Right.
or a mental disability. But with us,
Yeah.
we're just straight thugs.
And that was murder, right? That was
for life to
clear-cut murder.
prison. Yeah.
So these are the kind of questions we have to ask.
And I also think it's not just a legal issue. I think it's a moral issue. It's, with morals, it's only one truth.
Right.
So if we don't have the right morals in our hearts, then, it's going to affect the way we live. So we have to get our morals right first before we, address the legal stuff. So if you live with hatred in your heart, then it's going to show in what you do. If you live with love, it's going to show. So I feel like if you just have the right morals, then that would change everything. So.
Absolutely. No, one of the questions we're going to ask is, how do you separate a black cop from a white cop, right?
I don't see black cops, so I don't even know how to.
What do you mean separate?
Separate, do you feel a difference when you come into contact with a black cop from a white cop, or is it all just cops in general?
It's cops in general for me.
Okay.
Well,
my job is to get home safe and sound, come back to my mom and my dad.
Yeah.
And I'm decent.
I treat it with the same respect, because this is a person of the law coming to me, and you don't know what their agenda is necessarily. So from the forefront, I treat it with the same respect. I would be crazy if I didn't say that I do feel a little bit more comfort when there is a black cop, because this person's obviously, he may not be from the same community as me, but he's from my community,
Right.
And he's got family that looks like me, clearly. So I just feel a little bit more safe because they're used to dealing with somebody like me and not just having that preconceived notion of I'm about to harm them now because of the color of my skin.
And I do think black cops do have it hard too. I mean,
Yeah, they do.
With everything that we see about white cops,
Right.
It's like they're like, what do we do? Like,
Right.
They're in that box now too.
Because this is my community and this is my work,
Right.
Mhm.
So it's like, I wonder how they feel. So, I mean, because some black cops, they don't say anything, or they don't say as much as they should.
Mhm.
I'm not saying all of them do, but
Right.
I think one, because they kind of are scared of what might happen to them. Like, they might get tortured behind the scenes or in their own work.
Because they're deemed the traitor, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, it's hard all around the board for all Black Americans, I should say. So.
Yeah. So do y'all think this ever can be reconciled between people of color and police officers?
Ooh.
I ain't gonna live to see the day, to be honest with you.
We might not, but the work starts here. It has already started.
I don't want to say never, but again, like I said, it goes back to your morals.
Right.
If your heart isn't right, then how can you treat the people of the world in the right way or in the right manner? So you just
honestly, it's like, how can a police officer really be trained to do all this stuff? But then, like, if you think about it, like, they should have different kind of tests or something to at least make them like, oh, what would you do in this situation, or how would you treat this person? Like, why don't they have stuff like that?
Well, there have been studies shown that they've created certain scenarios in which there have been more studies shown that a police officer is more likely to shoot a black person than a white person.
Yeah,
and that's facts.
Trash. It's clearly shown.
Yeah, they were quicker to kill the black person than the white person. But I also think that there should be necessary training put in place, to your point. Mm-hmm. Maybe doing like community trainings and getting to know communities before you start to work in those communities. Or I don't know how it works with police officers, so I don't know if they're supposed to work in the community they live in. I know that was kind of the case with some cities, but I do think that they should be trained, because if you live in a big city like New York City, that's a wide, that's a lot of landmass. First of all, that's a lot of area, So you have all these different boroughs, and you're working in them, and you might live in Manhattan, and then you got to go work in the Bronx, and now you're around all these people you've never been accustomed to before, So I think that police training in those areas are going to be important. I mean, that's half the job, being a part of the community first. Yeah. Policing it, but being there and being for the people.
Yeah, I think one thing a lot of policemen fail to realize is that, just because you wear a badge, it doesn't make you less human. Like, you are human just like us.
Exactly.
So the badge doesn't make you greater than people without one.
Right.
It might give you an authoritative stance, but that doesn't give you the right to abuse that authority. You're still human.
Right.
We all still bleed red. So
absolutely.
No matter what. So.
And you don't bleed blue. Let's get that straight first of all.
Right.
Nobody
you chose that. You weren't born a cop.
Exactly.
That badge is not stitched into your skin. So
listen, and we've seen that with the Derek Chauvin case. I'm just saying, it's not a lot we can say on that, but of course, that was like a breath of fresh air for our community, because although we're still waiting on the sentencing of him. But it's good to just see that they're finally holding a cop accountable for his actions.
And it's like after so long, like really,
like
one out of 1,000, like
and not getting a slap on the wrist for being a cop, because that's typically the case, right? So it's moving towards the right direction. I'm sorry.
But I mean, still at this point, it's even like cops are supposed to help us, and nobody even sees them that way anymore.
Yeah.
So sad.
Right. I used to want to be a cop when I was a kid, believe it or not. Now I don't.
I think my dad did too. I think he wanted to be a cop.
I'd rather be a firefighter. You don't hear nothing about them.
Oh, yeah. First of all, you get a certain amount of days on and a certain amount of days off. Mm-hmm. And half the time, they're just chilling at the firehouse anyway. So
I'm trying to go down the street and just...
They always wave at us down the street, too. So,
But that's a good example of being for the community. Because if you look at most communities, fire departments, they're always out. They're always doing something in the community. I mean, they're getting a cat out the tree. That sounds cliche, but you just get a good sense of hope from the firefighters and you, a police officer. And that shouldn't be the case.
Yeah. So I would say that being policed is not only a struggle within our community, but also colorism. It's also another struggle that we deal with our own community. So it's one thing to deal with outside forces when it comes to us, but when we deal with our own, struggles or battle with each other, that can also hinder a community as well.
Right.
Obviously, we're talking about African Americans because we're all Black here. But I'm pretty sure in other communities as well, like the white people or Chinese people or Japanese, whatever it is, like. Every race has their own struggles. And so, but unfortunately within ours, it happens to be like things like colorism. Like we separate each other based on the darker or the lighter tones of our skin, unfortunately.
Right.
So why do you guys think that is?
It stems back to slavery, right? The lighter your complexion, the more benefits you get in society, right? You don't have to work in the fields and you don't have to sleep outdoors with the darkies per se.
What?
I mean, seriously. I mean, the darker complexion. I mean, also because a lot of the lighter skinned kids were, unfortunately, offspring of the slave masters too. So, a lot of the time that was the case too. So they feel a little bit more privileged, and that trickle down effect is real. I mean, that. You feel that sense of privilege. I don't care what scenario it is. If you're poor and you become rich, you now feel a sense of privilege amongst the people that are your contemporaries, right? Because you're the chosen one out of the few, right? So I think that has now trickled down into even today where we feel privileged in certain spaces if you're of lighter complexion. That's just my own take. I'm not speaking for everybody here.
Well, from my perspective or opinion, I do agree that it has come from, or stemmed from slavery. However, I've never been the person to separate the lighter complexion towards the darker complexion. I just feel like, if you're a good person, I'm a vibe with you. Like, I don't like negativity. That's what I don't like. And it doesn't matter what race you are or how dark you are or how lighter you are. I just feel like if you're of a certain, energy, like negative vibes and all that stuff, or you like drama, I would tend to stray away from you. But in school, like, people never really kind of sat with me, specifically in college. I went to a predominantly white school. So people kind of didn't sit at my table when I was the only Black girl in the classroom. I don't know why.
We all do.
Well, I mean, because they probably gravitated towards their own people. Because I do agree. I can say that even in the cafeteria, like me and my friends that went to college who were Black as well, like we had our own table. Even when we were involved in like activities such as choir. we went to lunch after we sung at a place or whatever, and it was like these separate tables, and all the black people literally sat at one table, and our choir director was like, "Oh, way to keep segregation alive, guys." I mean, he wasn't like saying it in a, you know,
right.
yeah. But
it
was
was
like,
serious.
Yeah. It was something that was like obvious. Like, oh, every table had all the white people and this one table had all the black people.
Right.
And it's like, why do we feel more comfortable with our own people than, you know, sitting with other races?
Because you might have more. Never mind.
Huh?
I was like, you might have more in common than you think with those people too.
Well, yeah.
But
yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, because even in the classroom, they never made me feel comfortable because either they sat with their own people or they just couldn't relate in a certain way when we talked about certain things. So
you were the oddball.
Yeah. So when I did see my people, I'm like, "Oh, what's up? What's up?
Right.
Like,
what you want?
What you got?"
Absolutely.
So I mean,
I think you're just comfortable with, and understandably, I think you're just comfortable with who you're used to being around.
Yeah.
And like I said before, we all live in homogenous worlds where we grow up in black communities and white communities amongst each other. So, and when you're not that used to having that interaction with that other person, you don't know how to approach that situation necessarily until somebody breaks that ice, right? And then you're comfortable. But then we become the token, right? And that's just that.
Right. And then it's like people are, you know, again, going back to the way the society is set up nowadays, white people are more afraid to approach us. Okay, so within our own community, do you think that personality differs based on the complexion of our skin? Like, is there a certain stigma that light skins are more sensitive or stuck up, and darker complexions are more kind of seen as bold or more of a threat?
Yep.
That's stigma right there.
I might joke about it, but I don't be serious. Like, I get to know a person for who they really are. But I'm not gonna lie, I did used to have that stigma, like, oh, I'm not gonna mess with a light skin because he. But
Drake.
I mean,
he's the lightest skin of them all.
I mean, he just stole somebody's wife. So.
But do you agree with those stigmas then? So do you think more light-skinned people are stuck up or sensitive?
I don't think it's fair to say all of them.
Yeah.
But I think...
Yes, because I'm not.
Right. So then that...
Well, I'm sensitive.
As I say, I've experienced a brown skin person be super stuck up. So
right, and dark skin people too.
Yeah.
But I think you don't know until... It's hard to say because some yes, all no.
So are you speaking from a relationship perspective or just an everyday encounter that you have with a random light-skinned person? Or
not an everyday encounter, but I've had situations where people have basically said they feel more than because of their lighter skin. And typically you hear this amongst like older black people because that stigma was really heavy, especially during a certain time. But I dated a light skinned girl who thought she was everything in a bag of chips because she was light skinned. I'm not gonna say any names, obviously.
Go ahead, drop some names.
No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. But that was very much so a thing. And
you said because she was light skinned.
Right.
So, like,
thought she was cute. Thought she was. Any situation she walked into, she thought she was.
But how do you know she did that because she was light skinned though? Or did you make that assumption?
It's a little bit of both.
Because I'm like,
it's I mean, obviously a lot of it is assumption because I think most of these cases are assumption. But I would hear her say certain things about her being light skinned.
Like what?
That would. I don't want to put her out there, but just
we
like
don't know.
We don't know her name, but. This is also like years
Drop
ago.
the name, Donovan.
You don't say nothing.
No, that's what we're here to discuss.
Right. It's years ago, so stuff like, I'm cute because I'm light skinned and stuff like, you know what I mean? Like stuff like that, and even not even realizing that at the time her boyfriend was a dark skinned guy. Obviously she knew I was dark skinned, but like saying like that girl isn't cute because she's dark skinned and stuff like that. So, therefore, putting yourself in a place of of I guess not hierarchy, but hierarchy because you're light skinned.
Yeah.
So because she's dark skinned, she's not cute, and you're cute because what?
That makes no sense. If you're cute, you're cute.
No, I'm an 8. So anyway,
that's a different story because you might think you're 8, but somebody else might think you're 6. So it's like,
very much.
That's
so.
very true.
And they might think that because I'm dark skinned. No, but
It's true.
yeah.
It's the society we unfortunately live in.
Yeah.
Some people are attracted to dark-skinned people and some people are attracted to light-skinned people. It's just a preference. However, I don't think, this is where I come into disagreement where, say dudes, they say, oh, I don't want to date this person because they're too black.
Right.
And they're a black guy, and their mom is black or dark skin. So
that be blowing me.
So I don't understand that logic behind it. Like, if you don't want to date somebody, let it be because of who they are, their personality, or how you probably encountered them. They probably came off rude or stuck up to you, not because of
this.
Essentially, I'm attracted to a person because of their soul, not because of their looks anyway. So it's like to even put color into it, it's like.
I mean, looks is a bonus. Not the color of the skin, but the looks is.
Yeah, of course, because I'm not going to sit here and look at you if you ugly, right?
But which one are you more attracted to? Which one are you more attracted to, though?
I'm more attracted to your heart.
Cap.
What? How are you going to tell me what I'm attracted to? Like, if you have a good heart, but you're a little on the ugly side, I'm going to accept you.
Listen.
Okay, that's you.
Because I'd rather have a little ugly person than a person that think he all that and not treat me right.
You just real nice.
You could be the finest dude in the world, but you can have the
trash
nastiest attitude.
Yes,
that will make
you are unattractive. Yes.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah.
So what you about to say? Because you said kind of
right. Talking about that's kind of like how guys they think females that are after your money or something like that. But then it's like if you throw in money, like
then what did you expect?
Right.
I agree. I'm sorry. It's not cap. You just really love people. Huh? You're nice. No, I agree. I can't say I'm into either one because I definitely like me some chocolate, but I also like my light brights. So
hey, black is beautiful either way.
Yeah,
you make some fine babies.
Sound like you got a preference.
So, but going back to you, but do you put looks above personality?
No. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Not at the moment. It's before the moment of arrival though. It's like
so looks get you, but personality.
Well, absolutely. Okay. Yeah. I mean, unless you're somebody I just heard talk and then I saw you and then I'm like, oh, she happens to be cute as well. I mean, hearing her say, these things.
So okay, well that's understandable when you say like looks is the first thing that attracts you to a person.
But I value the personality more.
Right. Exactly. So, but you should say that. Well, not saying that you should in general. I'm saying that when you see someone that you're instantly attracted to, do you want to get to know them because of how they look, or are you saying to yourself, "Oh, she's pretty. I want to see how she is as a person," or "I really do want to get to know her"?
I think if you ask me at 2 different points in my life,
so you trying to get to know her, you trying to bang, bang, bang.
Well, okay. So if you asked me that 6 years ago, the answer would have been, "I like how she looking. I don't care about all that other stuff." But now when you ask me at 25, as I'm getting older and my friends are getting married and I start to value people just a little bit more now.
So why do you feel like it was like that 6 years ago?
Because I was in the heat. I just wanted something to tap.
Why? You don't care about STDs or none of that, huh?
No, of course I care about that. We're going to wrap it up out here.
Cap.
Safe sex is the best sex.
Cap.
That's not cap, actually.
Cap.
That's not. No, but at a certain age, I mean, especially when you're a teenage boy and your friends are having sex and these things are happening, right? You can attest to it. You want that too. And you're not thinking about, let me meet this girl. I mean, of course you want to meet somebody I think you always want to meet somebody who you like as a person. But when you're thinking with this and not this, you're not thinking about all
But if I'm a female and I think with this and not, like, what?
But everybody's different. So at that point in my life, I didn't care about our relationship as much. Because I'm young. I don't care. I got all my life for that. Now that I'm 25 and I've lived more life.
But you really don't. Like,
you don't, but
you don't know when you're gonna die.
You don't know, but I'm young. I'm not thinking I'm gonna die tomorrow. I'm 17, 18. I'm living for today, not tomorrow. Now that I'm 25, I value things a little bit differently. I do want somebody who I could be around and not even just have sexual relations, but just have dates and sit and talk and, you know, have meaningful conversations. So therefore I do look for personality more or less now than I did then. So
it's the maturity for me.
Yeah.
Period.
But 18 I was coming for you. I was real man.
All the ugly girls just never gonna
Yeah,
find somebody.
But to your last point, there's always going to be somebody who wants you, and just not me.
Right. If I find you ugly, I'm not finna give you time.
Yeah. I may find her ugly, and he may find her beautiful.
But what are the chances of that?
Very low, but you know.
Right.
I ain't finna be going out and grab my mouth.
But it's somebody. Look, it's 7 billion people on this earth. You're going to find one. And if you haven't, maybe you're just not outside enough.
Or you're not in the right environment of the type of man or female that you want.
Yeah.
Because this date market is something serious, I ain't gonna lie.
Maybe you a fish swimming in the wrong pond.
Exactly.
You a saltwater fish. What you doing in this fresh water? See? Just saying.
Oh.
What about y'all?
You know what I'm saying?
What makes me, well, men are supposed to be the hunters. I've never had to go up to a guy and say, hey, I think you're cute or attractive.
Right.
Like, they always came after me and jumped in my DMs.
Sometimes too aggressively.
Very. I mean, especially when they don't look the way they should be acting. And that's not based on complexion.
Pick a struggle.
Yes, it's just based on, I guess, representation of how they carry themselves. And I'm not knocking, like, I do know that some people are more fortunate enough than other people to have certain things. But if you were in your profile pic smoking weed, like, that's not attractive to me. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And you're just trying to, like, spit your game at me. No, it ain't cute.
Yeah.
But,
and then you want to come in and sound all witty and intelligent.
Yeah.
But your profile picture doesn't say that.
Yeah, and I also think with me, it depends on how you approach people. So if you're approaching me and the first thing out of your mouth is, hey, can I have your number?
Right.
No.
People don't even ask that no more.
Right.
They ask, what's your Snapchat?
That too. Or it's like, you can have my social media, but my number? No. Like, what puts you above, every other dude? Like,
but you're placing, that's that person placing themselves in a position where they think that they're everything in a bag of chips.
Yeah.
Right? And you're just supposed to give me your number because I'm who I am. In which I don't even know your name.
Exactly.
Yeah. Trash.
Start with the name.
I mean, I agree with everything Diana said. It's all about the approach. It's all about, well, first I look at whether or not you're a gentleman.
Okay. That we are.
You should.
That's why I say, like, carry yourself. And,
yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So if you got your pants sagging off your booty,
exactly.
If you got dirt under your nails, no. I look at all this. I look at all that. I am not gonna lie to you. So it's like being groomed, all that stuff. That's the stuff I look at. I pay attention to little details, and if those aren't, I'm not saying like you gotta look your best, because I'm not gonna look my best all the time. But it's really your approach to me. I don't care if you ugly.
Gotta come respectfully.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Respect shines more than just your looks. I mean, the way you just talk to people, will carry you along the way. And that's just not in relationships. That's in business atmospheres too. Like, no one's going to want to work with a disrespectful person.
Right.
You can be the best at what you do. You can look the best at what you do. Like, the best of the company. You're probably the face of the company. But if you have, like, the nastiest attitude, no one is going to want to work with you at all.
Yeah.
So...
that's how most of my situations I feel like came about. Because I'm not claiming to be the most handsome person on the earth, but I feel like I know I got a good mouthpiece. I can say what I want to say.
Boy, I do have a question about that. What if you come off as a person that has a good heart, then later you find out they just the devil?
Oh yeah, the Bible talks about wolves in sheep clothing. So
they put on the front.
But I think that's where discernment comes in. Like, if you don't, well, for me personally, this is my personal experience. Like, I do believe that my relationship with God has given me the ability to discern whether dudes ain't or not. So again, it
or women.
Yeah. Well, that too.
Y'all women are foul.
See, now you coming in from a...
I got some stories down there, Men and women can be foul.
Yeah, absolutely. Both.
But I also think it's common sense. Like the way how you treat people around you, the way you carry yourself.
Some people really be pretending. So
that is
well,
true. It's some master manipulation out here. I do agree with that. Yeah.
Because they know that is the code. They know that is what's going to get them. There's a certain kind of woman you look for, and the kind of women that look for these kind of things are the women you meet. The kind of women you marry, pretty much, right? These are women looking for husbands, not momentary flings. Mm-hmm. So they're getting into that sorority, I guess, of women who are looking for husbands and respectful, responsible men. And they're just putting on the front because they now penetrated that, you know what I mean? Yeah. That group. And they want to be part of that group because they may be done with the club chicks who are out every weekend looking for a boyfriend for that weekend. And they're done. You know what I mean? So, and they take a little bit of pride in that because they can go back to their boys and be like, look what I did. I got so-and-so, she ain't with nobody.
Yeah, yeah. I do think that, like, just to piggyback off of what you said, it depends on what you're looking for in a relationship or out of life. Like, you personally, I do want to be married. So, and with me having, or being a Christian, I do look for certain morals in a person. So, like, I don't expect, us to get in a relationship and automatically live together or automatically have sex together. Like, I don't want to give wife tendencies over to somebody that's still in a boyfriend position. So no, that it's just not gonna work based on where I want to be in life. So, because I feel like once you give all of that up as a woman before marriage, then he really gonna want to marry you. So it's
what's left on the table? I mean, everything's on the table. Yeah, we got no cards left to play.
Yeah. So I just feel like based on what you want in life, you'll be in that specific situation.
Yeah, so. Absolutely.
On that, no ladies, keep it a mystery.
Period. Your perspective?
Yeah, because it sounded like you had one.
About the light skin?
Yeah, like you was choosing one. You wouldn't,
Well, based on my experience, I would go for a dark skinned woman. The light skinned women that I've been with are stuck up, and I'm not going to deal with that.
Ooh, let's talk about it.
And they bougie.
Let's talk about it.
Uh-oh. And I'm not going to sit around and deal with you if you acting that way.
Yeah.
So, if I go for a dark skinned woman, which I have, they seem pretty nice. But some way along the line, I end up going back to the light skinned woman.
To the dark side. But the light side.
The right side?
The right side.
Things are different now, so
yeah,
we finna see how that goes.
But you do think there's a stigma between so you think that light skinned people are in vain or
it's their attitude. Because you light skinned, you don't get special privileges with me. Nothing like that.
Man, who hurt you?
I mean, they ain't hurt me. I'm just not gonna put up with that,
Hey, yeah, I respect you.
But again, though, is that based on their complexion or their personality?
Well, if you ask them, it's based on their complexion. They're light skinned, they did all that.
Well, I disagree.
I mean, that's my experience with women. You can go with
it. Yeah. But I mean, just because you experience something, don't mean you have to put every single light skinned person in that box. Exactly. What if your sister was like that?
That's what I'm saying. Like,
well, I'm not trying to date her. I'm talking about when I date her. Every woman that I come across, and they firmly admit it too. It's like, hey, I'm bringing it up.
That's sad.
They admit that, hey, I'm light skinned. I look good. I look better than this woman. I think you should be doing this for me. Oh. And I'm like, wait a minute, you're not my wife, so I ain't gotta do all that.
I just want a black woman.
Well, if the black women don't act right, I'm going for the Latinas.
Wow.
Spicy. No pun intended. That's just
more of the story. I think that no matter what skin complexion you are or what race you are, I just feel like a good heart is a good heart. I used to say that I never saw myself marrying outside of my race, but I won't say never because once again, if I'm attracted to who you are and your heart, then that's different.
Doesn't matter what you look like.
Right, doesn't matter what you look like. So, and just because you're not attracted or attractive to one person doesn't mean another person won't find you attractive. So I just feel like there's, that one person, or no, not just one, but it's a person out there for another person. So, because some people get married like twice. I'm just saying, I don't want to limit. I don't want to limit to one soulmate, but
yeah, it's real out here in these streets, man.
It is. It's a lot.
I ain't in these streets.
You're not in these streets?
Listen, we're in the house.
We in the kitchen.
We stay in.
We up in here having combos. I'm sorry.